Good morning to everybody. I extend a hearty welcome to all the participants to this international webinar on barriers for women empowerment strategies to overcome. The resource person for today's international webinar is Professor U.L.T.P. Gunasekare. She is the Professor of Department of Accounting, Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka, and she will be dealing with the topic barriers for women empowerment, and she will also highlight the strategies to overcome the barriers. And foremost, let us seek the blessings of our Honorable Vice Chancellor through his inaugural address. Now it's time for the inaugural address of our Vice Chancellor.
Dear colleagues and friends, good morning to you all. On behalf of MS University, I have great pleasure in welcoming you all on our organized by the Center for Women Empowerment and Women's Studies. Dear colleagues, gender equality has always been the necessity for the development of a country. Inclusion of both genders equally will improve GDP tremendously. Indian GDP can grow by a staggering 60% if more women start working. Education actually increases confidence in a woman, and educated women can easily understand the demerits of early marriage and high birth rate. They have the attitude of gender parity among the children, right from healthcare, nutrition, education, and even career. The fruits of education are are enjoyed not only by the women concerned, but it is also passed on to her family in later life. And there are several factors which affect the access of women to higher education. Factors like poor economic conditions, which is all the more relevant among the rural poor, socio-cultural traditions, sex segregation, distance of colleges and universities from their home, negative attitude of the family members, and lack of a family teacher. So these are some of the issues which have relevance to empowering women through education. Uh, in this context, this period, particularly the impact disruption of higher education institutions as a consequence of COVID-19 pandemic, women are the most hardest hit. They are also the at the same time, they are also the backbone of recovery in the various communities. Putting women and girls at the center of economies will fundamentally drive better and more sustainable development outcomes for all, support a more rapid recovery, and place the world back on a footing to achieve sustainability development goals. In this context, the COVID-19 pandemic also provides us an opportunity for radical positive action to redress long-standing inequalities in multiple areas of women's lives and build a more just and resilient world. And every COVID-19 response plans and every recovery package and budgeting of resources needs to address the gender impacts of the pandemic. It is also very vital to develop a rapid and targeted response to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 crisis on women and girls, and to ensure that the long-term recovery benefits them all. This can be focused on 5 priorities. For example, the first one, gender-based violence, including domestic violence, should be mitigated and reduced. Social protection and economic stimulus packages should serve also more women and girls more specifically. And transforming the inequalities of unpaid care work into a new inclusive care economy that works for all the women, that should also be taken care of. And women and girls, they lead and participate in, their participation in COVID-19 response planning and decision making should also be improved. And finally, data and coordination mechanisms should also include gender perspectives. So in the backdrop of all these significant developments as a consequence of COVID-19 pandemic, this webinar assumes greater significance in promoting gender equality, and what are the strategies which can be adopted, and what are the challenges before women and girls in particular. This is very much relevant, and I am very thankful to the Center for Women Empowerment and Women Studies for organizing this webinar. I'm sure the deliberations of this webinar will enrich all our young participants, and also uh, the students, which will provide them the necessary impetus to acquire more knowledge and to progress further in their academic pursuits. I wish the conference a great success. I also take this opportunity to thank Dr. B. Revati, who is the organizer of this program and who is also the director of Center for Women Empowerment and Women Studies. I wish the conference a great success. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your inaugural address. All these webinars are the result of the encouragement and the motivation of our Vice Chancellor and our respected Registrar of Manonmaniam Sundaranar University. A short description of the profile of the resource person. She had her doctorate in management from the University of Kelaniya. She got her MBA degree from University of Colombo. She has served as the for management research from March 2015 to 2017. And she has also head of the Department of Accountancy, Faculty of Commerce and Management, University of Kelaniya from 3 years to 2017. She has master's in accounting and reporting experience from University of Lanka. She has facilitated national seminars and conferences. She has also organized various national international programs. She has delivered a uh, number of papers and articles in various programs organized in Sri Lanka and in abroad. She has developed a number of case studies and has published in Case Studies in Accounting, a publication of the Department of Accountancy. She is a member of editorial board for Kelaniya Journal of Management, University of Kelaniya. She has served as the chief examiner for the University of Kelaniya for the course Business Studies from 2000 to till date. She is of a dynamic personality. She is the apt person to highlight the participants the barriers for women empowerment, and she will also tell us the strategies how to overcome the barriers for women empowerment. And on behalf of the university and on my own behalf, I welcome you, ma'am, to this international webinar. I welcome you, a hearty welcome to you, ma'am. Now the section is yours, ma'am.
Thank you for nice words introducing myself, and I must thankful to the Vice Chancellor of the University of Manonmaniam Sundaranar University for giving me this opportunity to address the whole gathering. And also, I must thankful to you, Madam, the Director, Center for Women Empowerment and Women Studies, Manonmaniam Sundaranar University, for giving this opportunity to address this whole gathering. So, my topic is women empowerment and some strategies to overcome the barriers to empowerment. So women empowerment is a timely topic. So as the Vice Chancellor's inaugurational speech very rightly explained, women empowerment is required. It is it is a it is an international issue because it is what we expect as women, what we expect from the others to uh, stand on our own. So I will start what women empowerment is, explaining what women empowerment is. So the Human Development Report in 1995 explained women empowerment is about participation. So that is a very simple definition they have given. So women can be empowered by allowing them to participate in various economic, social, political, and legal scenarios. If she can participate in each of these areas, that is all about women empowerment. So the definition says investing in women capabilities and empowering them to exercise their choices, not only valuable in themselves, but also the surest way to contribute to economic growth and overall development. Simply, that is investing in women capabilities. So I wanted to, at the end of this webinar, I wanted to give you a message. So I will articulate this message based on this definition. So investing in women's capabilities. So what the women movements, the women centers developed for women empowerment, all these giant organizations have to do for women empowerment. So for empowering women, what you have to do is investing in women capabilities. So that is the whole world should do for strengthening the women. So basically investing in women's capabilities, and through these investments, through this in capability, developing these capabilities, women can be empowered. So for what purpose? So all this empowerment will be directed towards the economic development of the society. So not only for women themselves. So empowerment, women empowerment is for the development of the entire society. So if we expect the development of a society, if we expect the development of a country, so that part is also essential, not only for the other development areas. So when we consider the country's development, when we consider the society's development, so we look at the infrastructure, the other facilities, the economic development, and the literacy, and so forth. But most have forget about the women. So if according to this definition, it clearly says that if some country, another society needs a development itself, the society's development, country's development, what they have still they have forget about the women part, the contribution towards the women. So for the purpose of development of a country, we have to think of the women empowerment. That is a major area the whole world has forget about. So for the overall development, for the overall growth of our economy, it must be done by the government, by all of these movements towards development. So for the development of a country, women empowerment, empowering women is a must. Then most of the areas can be developed. So according to this definition, that part is emphasized. So women empowerment is about participation in other areas of the economy, other areas of the society, other areas of the country. So women empowerment is participation. So for that purpose, what the government, what the organizations should do is investing in women capabilities. That is a major part that we have to do. Look at this definition. The fostering of a woman's sense of self-worth, her decision-making power, her access to opportunities and resources, her power and control over her own life, inside and outside the home, and her ability to affect change. So that is what we have to do. in empowering women, we have to, the whole country should do is foster the women's sense of worth. So most of us, most of the women in the world, they have not identified their sense of worth. They have not identified the worth of themselves. So that is why in empowering women, we have to foster the sense of their own worth. So that is what we have to do within women empowerment programs. So we launch certain women empowerment programs. So out of these women empowerment programs, what we have to do is we have to foster their sense of self-worth, her decision-making power. So all these programs should be directed towards fostering the decision-making power of women, her access to opportunities and resources. So we must, in empowering women, what we have to do is we have to allow the women, allow the females of the society to access several opportunities and resources, right? So her power and control over her own life, that is what we have to do in empowering women. We have to allow her to give her power and control over her own life. So it is happening everywhere in the world. Some very bad situations, we have to heard in some instances, the women has no power and control over her own life. She has no power to control her marriage. In certain situations, we have witnessed. She has no power and control over his own selection of employment. So she is not liberalized in these areas, especially in marriages. She is not liberalized. So in empowering her, we have to give them that liberty. We have to give her the liberty to decide, make decisions about her own life. And some situations, in some countries, in some societies, she is only limited to the home. Women is kept at the kitchen. So that is not the situation. We have to think of further. We have to take her out of the home, because she is with many more potentials, many more multiple skills. So if you can take the women out of the kitchen, out of the home, and allow her to take her own decisions, and allow her to foster the sense of self-worth and decision-making power, that will be make her to make a big change in the society. So that will be capable in making societies change. So in this definition, women empowerment is given a very big emphasis, very strong emphasis in making societies change. So then she will be able to make a change in the society. So if we expect a change, so we all are talking about changes everywhere. So in this dynamic environment, in this development, in this globalized environment, we are talking about development. We are talking about changes. So, but the change agent is limited to the home. The change agent, the capacity, the capabilities, change capabilities are limited to the kitchen. So that is the problem. So what we have to do in empowering women, because she is capable in making a change, because if we can uncover her hidden talents, if we can uncover her sense of self-worth and her decision-making power, and give her the opportunities, then we can expect a real change in the society then only. So in this definition, it says we can we can get we can make the society change through the through a mechanism of empowering women. Then look at what the programs can do in empowering people, in empowering women. So enable them to flourish their talents. She is having talents. She is having potential talents, abilities, and capabilities. What we have to do is enable them to flourish their hidden talents and abilities and capabilities. That is what we have to do out of these centers, out of these programs, out of these women empowering movements. So we have to enable these, enable the women to flourish their talents, capabilities, and abilities. And also, we can develop the self-confidence. So that we have to do out of our programs, out of these programs, we have to develop the self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-reliance and self-dignity. So that is what we have to do as a country, as a society whole, as a whole. So there are these things are within her. So to develop her self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-reliance, and the self-dignity, then she will be able to raise the voice and fight against the injustice that is directed toward her. And she can fight against exploitation. She can fight against violence. So what we have to do is, we are talking about injustice over the women, exploitation of women labor, and violence, home violence, domestic violence, violence over the women. So how to eradicate these situations is to empower the women. If if we are able to empower the women, then we can eradicate these situations. So how we can empower the women? We can develop her self-confidence. We can develop her self-esteem. We can develop her self-reliance and dignity. And the other thing, to provide them with opportunities, facilities in external and internal environment to utilize their inherent qualities. So women is a creature, a personality that is with many more potentials, many more inherent qualities. So I will show you several evidences. So women is a full of inherent qualities, inherent capabilities. So the thing is, we have to give her opportunities. The country has to, the society has to give her opportunities. The country and the society has to give her facilities in the internal and external environment within her. So the responsibility is with the society. The responsibility, the job is to be done by the society in empowering the women. So if the society gives the opportunities to flourish her talents, if the society can give her facilities in the internal and external environment, then she will be flourished with her talents, abilities, and capabilities, and finally make a change to the society. So the other thing is freedom of thought, expression, and actions. It is again another area to be considered in empowering women. So freedom of thought, freedom of expression and actions. That is another area, if I say, the society has to give her. So then she will be strengthened and handle every situation of the society, every situation, and develop her own life. So these are the things we have to think of in empowering women. So I will explain, I will show you how these things happen, currently happening, and what we have to do as a society to empower the women in order to develop the society, in order to develop an economy, or in order to develop a country. So how women empowerment is evolved. So you all know at the beginning of this century, so we were talking about industrialization. We are still talking about globalization. And also it is another hot topic about social legislation. So all these, among all these situations, these things are happening in this century. These things are happening around us in the global level, in the international level. So this situation make a gap in the society, make a gap, created a gap in the women's role. So then the women part, the counterparts of women, counterparts of men cannot be hidden in the kitchen, cannot be stay in the kitchen, because the external environment is full of different opportunities, full of changes, and the different things are happening out of the home, out of the house. So then the women has to forget about, so move from the traditional role of her. So she is given, traditionally, she is given the entire role, entire management of a family. That was the traditional role she had. But due to this dynamic environment with globalization, industrialization, and social legislation, so then women cannot stick to the family affairs only. There is a gap to be filled by a women. So then there is a gap to be filled by the role of a women. So that is why, that is the requirement of empowering women. Then we have to think of women empowerment, because there is a necessity of women in the society, women in the professions, women in the manufacturing area. There is a role to be played by the women in the governance. There is a role to be played by the women in the entire area of economy. So there is a role to be played by the women because of this complex, dynamic situation happening today. So that is what these women empowerment movements are raising. Women empowerment movements are raising because of this. So there is a requirement in the society for women to play a role. There is a required gap to be filled by the women. So then women empowerment happens as a raising topic, hot topic among everyone. So expansion of education and awareness, and traditional role of the women has changed, and they have reached out of higher level of professional activities. That is how women have to come out of their houses, and they have to play a major role in different professions, in different areas of society, in different areas of a country, in different areas of governance. So then there is a gap to be filled by the women. So what is the present scenario? So women empowerment has emerged as a concept because of this. Because of this, women empowerment has emerged as a concept. And also the world has recognized that it is a global issue, women empowerment. Women empowerment becomes a global issue. everyone everyone was talking about. So in developing Millennium Development Goals, so in developing Millennium Development Goals, it is also there. So gender equality. So to develop, to sustain the world, to develop within this millennium, the whole world should be developed and sustained by way of decreasing decreasing the inequality. So we have to decrease the gender inequality. So there, for that purpose, again, women empowerment is a solution. So women empowerment is that much of important in sustainability, in sustainable development. Then because of that, because of this uh, necessity, because it is so much significant. So women empowerment movements, women empowerment programs, research centers to carry out research relating to women empowerment, different dialogues among intellectuals, then discussions, conferences, many more things were happening, started to happen, because it becomes a global issue, it becomes a millennium requirement, it becomes a emerging topic. So the society, the intellectuals were talking about women empowerment. The process of women empowerment is multidimensional. So in empowering women, so we have to look at 360 degrees. So not only one area. So we have to look, we have to empower the women in different areas. So because of that, women empowerment takes a multi-dimensional process. So looking at the economic aspect, looking at the social aspect, looking at the legal aspect, and also the every areas look at, and from every areas we have to take several initiatives to empower the women. So in fact, it is central to achievement of the triple goals of equity, development, and social justice. So in acquiring, in achieving equality, in achieving development, and in achieving social justice, it is significant. Women empowerment is significant. So that is why this topic is that much of essential to talk, that much of essential to carry forward and have dialogues. So these are the women empowerment dimensions. So dimensions of empowerment. From the economic aspect, so she should be given the chances to access the management and control of economic activities. So she should be given the freedom to choose her own job, choose her own employment. She should be able to fight against exploitation. And social empowerment is the another part. That is, she should be given equitable social status in the society. She should be given equitable social status. That is the social empowerment. And political empowerment. In empowering women, again, political empowerment is another essential area. So that is equal participation in decision making as well as access to power. So she should be given equal participation in country's governance. So that is political environment. That is very much rare in Asian area, Asian region. But there are some extraordinary characters. They have come out of the general situation, but most are not given equal chances to participate in the governance. And also legal empowerment, the legislative framework to secure the rights and availability of these legal services to the women. So to protect her rights, to protect her activities, there should be some defense, there should be some protection from the legal framework. And also she should be given these activities to be available to make use. So this coverage is also should be given to empower women. So that is why women empowerment becomes a multidimensional in the area of economic empowerment, from the area of social empowerment, political empowerment, and legal empowerment. We all have to take the opportunities in these areas, give the opportunities in these areas to build up the women as empowered creature. So look at this illustration. So I have taken this from the web. So it gives a huge meaning regarding the women. So how potential is she? Look at. So she is multitasking personality. She has to look after the children. She has to balance the domestic budget. She has to do all domestic activities, dusting. So she has to clear, she has many other activities relating to domestic. So this diagram witness that she is multi-skilled personality. She is having many more potentials. She is having hidden potentials. It is a matter of uncovering these potentials. So she has these multi-skills, multitask personality. So handling all the activities while the counterpart only sticking only a job role or very limited area of activities. So that is what we have to do in empowering women. What we have to do in empowering women is to uncover the hidden potentials, because she is full of potentials, full of skills. This diagram itself says she is full of potentials. She is having capabilities. The thing is uncovering these potentials. Look at. These are the uniqueness of women. So she has to carry her baby within her for about 10 months, while the counterpart cannot do this. So these are the uniqueness of women. So breastfeeding, that is another important area the counterpart cannot carry out. So these are the uniqueness. These are the unique activities that the women has to carry, has to do. So this shows that she is doing more than her counterpart. So she is doing more than her counterpart. So these are the things that are unique in her personality. She is full of bare abilities. She is full of capabilities. She is unique. She is unique, and she is handling many more roles, many other roles other than her counterpart. So look at motherhood. Motherhood. So it is also common to royal family, not only a poorest lady. So motherhood is another unique thing, unique capability that the women possess. So we will say that we can witness that even this is common to even the royal family. So look at, we are always Princess Diana carrying her children. So that is common, irrespective of the uh, uh, north or west, irrespective of the big or small, poor or rich. So she has to carry out all these activities. These are the assigned tasks to the women. So all these says that, witness that she is multiple, she is having multiple capabilities. She is multitasker. She is having many more abilities and capabilities. And she is unique. So look at, even in different professions, we have conquered all these professions, from even the space we have conquered. We have conquered even the space. Where the women also conquered the moon, space, and many more areas. She has proved that she can play the role. So that means all these witness that she is with many more capabilities. She is unique. She is having at least very unique capabilities which the counterpart doesn't have. So think of these multi-skilled potential creature given by the God. So she is that much of capable personality. So what are the areas we consider in empowered women? Look at, if the women can, if the women has economic independence, if the women are economically independent, if the women is able to control over an access of resources, and if she can take decisions of her own earn income, savings and expenditure, if she can participate in social change, if she has equal access to political, social and economic life of the nation, and if she can fight against problems and difficulties, if she can, if there is no discrimination and all forms of violence against her, then we will say it is the situation of empowerment, women empowerment. So it is a situation of women empowerment. If this liberty is given, if these opportunities are given, if she is given participation in economic, social, political and legal areas, then it is women empowerment. It is women empowerment. So these are the situations that we can say, indicators that we can say women empowerment. These are the indicators of women empowerment. If a country has these indicators, if a country has given these opportunities, liberty, then that society, that country has empowered their women. So how to empower women? So I have identified 3 areas that we have to do in empowering women. So first one is enhancing her self-esteem and self-confidence. So enhancing her esteem and confidence, because she is having multiple skills, she is having multiple capabilities. The thing we have to do is enhance this esteem, enhance the confidence, then she will be taking many more roles in the society and increase the awareness of her latent talents. That is another way to empower the women. So she has many of latent talents. So we have to make her aware about her talents. So these are the ways of empowering women. The other thing is creating an environment, positive environment with economic, political, legal and social policies. So there should be a conducive environment for women empowerment. So if this type of conducive environment, then women can live in pride. Women's prestige, health and physical and mental development is there. So in this society, in this era, to empower the women, we have to do only three things: enhancing her self-esteem and self-confidence, and make her aware of about her hidden talents, latent talents, and create a conducive environment that is encouraging her self-pride, prestige, and she should be given healthy mental and physical health. So these are the things we have to think of in empowering women. So I have developed a model during in one of my research. So it was called two-factor model of women empowerment. So there I have categorized all the things what we have to do into two factors. So that is why it is labeled as two-factor model of women empowerment. That is, what are these two factors? The first factor is development of her self-concept. Development of her self-concept. All the programs of these women empowerment movements, women empowerment centers, women empowerment programs should be directed towards development of her self-concept. And the other factor is development of a conducive environment in relation to social, political, legal and economic aspect. So all these programs should be directed towards developing such a conducive environment to be flourished with all these talents. Then that is all about women empowerment. So what we have to do today in this era, women empowerment is so much essential in making a social change. Women empowerment is so much of essential in making the society development. What we have to do in this scenario, in this situation, what we have to do is development of her inner qualities, self-concept, self-esteem, self-reliance. All these qualities are within her inner qualities. So first one is to develop her self-concept, and the second one is develop a conducive environment that can be in the area of economic, social, legal and political. So within this conducive environment, she will be able to unleash her hidden capabilities, and then it is all about women empowerment. So look at what are the areas we can do. Development of her self-concept, we can do self-exploration programs. So allow her to explore her hidden talents. She will be able to explore herself. So most of the programs can be directed towards exploring herself. So she will be able to her understand her hidden challenge, hidden talents through self-exploration, self-esteem, and self-confidence. That is to uncover her hidden talents. And from the external environment, from outside to her inner qualities, from the external environment, we can take many initiatives by education and literacy, by through economic independence, through legal safeguard, through political rights and provisions, and break in the boundaries of gender stereotyping. It is happening everywhere, gender stereotyping. So there are situations where we have segregated the men's task and women's task. That is gender stereotyping. So we can break this gender stereotyping. So then there are no designated activities for men and women. Any task can be handled by any of these parties. So the other one is change in the social attitude. So another major thing we have to do is change in the social attitude. So many more programs can be initiated to develop a conducive environment. And I will show you some operational level programs for women empowerment. So first one is capacity development programs, training and development. So through these capacity development programs and training and development programs, what we can do is we can unlash, we can take the hidden talents out of her. Then she will explore her worth, she will explore her talents. So by carrying out these capacity development programs, by investing capacity development programs, we can develop the women personality. Because I have showed you her unique characteristics, her unique capabilities, and her unique multitasking areas that her counterpart cannot be done. So capacity development programs are should be given major emphasis in unleashing her hidden talents. Then formal education, it is very much necessary. So formal education, by strengthening her participation of women at all levels of national education. So in Sri Lanka, we have free education, irrespective, no barriers to women to enter the education. So free education, access, all are allowed to access the free education. So it is a very good initiative. It is a must in a country. Formal education for all, free education for all. Then most of the problems in a country can be eliminated by education. So I strongly believe that most of these problems can be eliminated. Even poverty can be eliminated by education. Because if I say the world is full of resources, irrespective of north or south, east or west, the world is full of resources. The matter is utilizing these resources. If we have good education, if we have capacities, then we can transform these resources into opportunities and develop these resources and flourish the whole world as a sustainable, developed world. So education is a must, and fostering entrepreneurial attitudes So because the women has many more potentials, as I said, as I always said, women is having many more potentials. That is a matter of arousing, getting out of that. So if we can foster the entrepreneurial attitudes of women, then she will turn these resources into opportunities. She will be able to turn all these resources into opportunities if she is given this entrepreneurial attitude and freely chosen in employment. So because she has proved that she can conquer the space even, because so then she should be given freedom in selecting her own employment, and efforts to enhance the self-reliance. That is very much important. Self-confidence, self-reliance. Most of the programs we can develop to directed towards developing, enhancing her self-reliance and promote women's equitability and increase participation in the industry. Avoid exploitation work, exploitative work, and create new employment opportunities for women in the traditional and non-traditional sectors. So these are some of the operational level programs for women employment. But as a conclusion, in concluding my speech, I must I must tell the whole world, emphasizing that capacity development programs and formal education can do many things in developing women empowerment, in empowering women. So all these entrepreneurial skills, all these employment selection, all these every areas can be fallen under education. So if she is educated, if she is given some capacity development programs to uncover her hidden talents, then she is able to get the opportunities. She is strong enough to grab the opportunities, turn all resources into opportunities, and make a remarkable social impact by her own talents. So it is a matter of education. It is a matter of capacity development. Then most of the women the women problems related to women empowerment can be eliminated by providing capacity development programs, by developing her capacities, and by giving her formal education. So that is my conclusion. And all these women empowerment programs, women empowerment centers, women empowerment movements, all these can take initiatives in developing her capacities and giving her formal education. Then is enough she is capable in changing the whole world. By saying that, I will I will conclude my speech, and finally I will thank all these audience for your careful and patience listening. And finally, I must thankful to the university and the Women Empowerment Center for giving me this nice opportunity to give the message to the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for having enlightened us with the ways and means for women empowerment. You have also emphasized the need for women's education, which is vital for the transformation of our economy. Let us hope that this webinar will create a conducive environment with positive economic, political, legal, social policies in recognition of women's pride and prestige. Ma'am, there is only one question, which is from Professor Saumana. Her question is: do you have laws against domestic violence and sexual harassment at workplace in Sri Lanka?
So
She's
it is.
asking about the rules. Hmm. Yes, ma'am?
Yes, it is common to everywhere. So sexual harassment and domestic violence is again another issue relating to women relating to the women from their counterpart. But my observation is, if she is given this formal education and capacities, if she can uncover her these talents, and if she can uncover her capabilities and skills, then she can eliminate all these violence. She will be able to fight against this violence and harassments. The thing is, I always believe that the capacities are hidden within her. Capacities are hidden within her. Then it is a matter of arousing or taking out of these capacities. If she is strong enough with the capacities, with the skills, with the abilities, then she is enough, strong enough to eradicate, fight against all these violences and harassments.
Yes, ma'am. She
I
has to come
hope
out with her hidden capabilities. She has to
it
explore her own capacity to fight against the harassments. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again on behalf of me and also on behalf of the university for your accepting the invitation and have highlighted all the barriers for women empowerment, and has also you have suggested the ways how to empower women. And the vital thing is that women education for women empowerment. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
thank you very much for your kindness in giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Dear participants, the feedback link is posted in the chat box. You please be careful in filling up the feedback form, and also ensure that you are giving the correct email ID in your feedback form. And when we post the certificates, we come across the comment that the email ID is not a valid one. Kindly give us the correct email ID so that you'll be getting your certificates today. Ensure that you have given the correct email ID. Be very cautious in filling up your feedback form. Another request to the dear participants, you please don't pass on the feedback link to your friends, those who have not participated in the program. The feedback link will be closed after 10 minutes. Correct your, please give your correct email ID.